Hold up.
Hey guys, so if you remember when I first moved into this house, the backyard was completely bare, plain Jane, no personality at all. Same goes for this patio, really boring and just white, but of course I gave it the LaShawn Will treatment, and I love being out there when the weather permits. I can have my coffee and work on my videos. I made some really cute things such as these hedges. No, not these hedges. These came from Home Goods, but I didn't buy them because at $180 a piece, I told them to kick rocks, and I made my own. They came out really nice, and if you didn't see that video, I'll link it for you. However, fast forward, I told you guys before, things can look really beautiful, but coastal weather is no joke. Next, we have to tackle this mess, have to clean this rug. All the chairs are messy. I already put the pillows in the washer machine, but you can see it's all dusty, dirty.
Never can win when you're dirty, honey. You never can win.
I'm gonna break that down into two pieces. These then fell over. I gotta fix them. Probably gonna get rid of this. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, still got lots to do. These are my inserts. Out here, still a mess, and there's, as you know, good. And all you can see, all of this has come down. I've had to change the situation several times, but the other one is over there on the ground. So I'm replacing these because they're, they can be washed, but I actually want them a little bit longer so there isn't so much tension in them. So I'm gonna replace those. Now, I don't know if y'all recall, I made these two hedges out of the plastic shoe racks from Ross, but these pieces keep coming off. So what I'm doing is hot gluing them and then putting them back on. So just add some hot glue in here, and then that way it won't come off anymore, because I do use weights to weight it down. Okay guys, as you can see, that was a very simple project. We have a couple of projects that's going to happen in this video, but this wasn't one I needed to draw out. I put them in front of my beautiful Castaway gazebo because I love the way that they look, flanking the front like the front of a house. Now, we have a lot of cleaning up to do. As you can see, these curtains are on the floor. They spent the majority of the season there. I have a lot of things that I need to dust down. You can see that there's pollen on every single thing. This, I love this sign. I got it from Temu. What happens on the patio stays on the patio. I thought it was really cute. The other thing that I want to do is I want to take this over the toilet shelf. This is actually one of those shelves that you would see in the bathroom. I decided to put it outside. The shelf is metal. Those wood things inside, whatever, laminate, they didn't do so well, but that's okay. I decided that I wanted to break it apart and turn it into two separate shelving units. Now, what I'm going to do is, since this one has 3 shelves, I'm going to remove one of the shelves from the bottom, and then I'll be able to put that shelf on the other one, but then I'm going to give them both new tops. Now, this is this thing upside down. That's why you see the Better Homes and Gardens on the top side of it. However, we are going to get these all nice and cleaned up, and we're going to add some new tops. We're going to do that a little bit later, so let's just go ahead and finish cleaning up. Okay, one of the things that really came in handy was this doohickey heck. I do not have a power washer, but you just hook this thing up to a regular hose and it works great. I got it from Lowe's, just in case if you guys are interested. Okay, the rug is now all clean. It's still wet, but it's clean. Chairs are clean, tables clean. By tomorrow, it should be nice and dusty again. But yeah, I'm tired and my feet hurt. Okay guys, let's get started on this DIY with these cabinet doors that I picked up from Habitat for Humanity for $5 each. They've been sitting in my stash. I'm cleaning everything because, as I always tell you, paint is going to stick better to a clean surface. I decided to use this inexpensive paint as my primer because I didn't want to use up my good stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. I decided to pull out this automotive paint once again. If you didn't see me use it in the last video, then hopefully you get a chance to see me use it now. It does have a nice texture to it, and I didn't need to paint the inside of that one. I don't know why, because I am going to be covering it with something else. However, I love the texture on this one because it covers a lot of the bumps and bruises, and it's meant to be outdoors. So let me show you the texture. Okay, so this is what the shelf looks like now that I took it apart. I have now two pieces, one here, one on the other side. And then these are some of the peel and sticks that I had left over from the guest room when I made that countertop. And I know that they are waterproof. So what's going to happen is I'm going to actually put that in there. I just have to cut it so that it actually fits. But I'll have to use another piece right there. But I'm going to cut it down, fit it in here, cut it around there, and then it's going to look really nice because that has the same wood tones. So they're in the same exact colorway. I like it. It's going to be cute. Okay, so the way that I'm doing this is I just flip the table over. I flip the shelves so that the screws were on the bottom again, since I did take this thing apart. And now I'm just cutting up some scrap wood that I got from the guy at Home Depot. And I'm just gonna put the adhesive on here, some liquid nails in the tube. I'm gonna put that on there, and then I'm gonna turn it over and attach it there. So it's actually gonna lock this in place, but not permanently. It's just gonna kind of keep it from moving around when I put the top on. And then I can screw through here if I want to, but for now I just need to lock these in. Okay, so one down and one more to go. I think it looks pretty good, especially since it's going to be outside. Once I put those in place, I did need to paint those because they are visible, as you can see when you're standing back, so I made them black. And then on this one, it needed a little bit more shoring up because it was wobbly. Obviously, it didn't have any stability. So I took one of my scrap pieces of wood and I screwed it in from the back and spray painted that also to match with everything. And on this stuff, I used a nice satin black just to kind of touch up the whole entire frame itself and give it a new life. I like the way that they came out. I wouldn't say that, you know, this is my best work. Obviously, I was tripping because it does have that seam in the top. I may end up changing it later on, but for now, it'll do. I think for what it was, which is an over the toilet shelving unit, it is now 2 individual shelves that I can use outside, and I can put my things on it and wait until you get to the next project because we're going to make them look even cuter. Okay guys, for this next DIY, I picked up these flower pots from the dollar store. I want to say they were about $1.50, $1.75. I took my inexpensive spray paint just to give them a nice coat of black first, and then I decided I was going to go ahead and add that same textured paint to them. So as you can see here, I'm pulling that stuff out right there. I like the way that it looks, and I love that when it dried up, it gave it a nice sort of metal look. It looked like old aged iron, and that was definitely working for me. Those pots look so much more expensive now. And then also I use these beat up fiddle leaf plants that I had for a while, almost 2 years. They did pretty good. I mean, but they did look good at one point. Hold on, here they go. Okay, I think they look very good when they were brand new. Thank you, Costway, for those. They lasted quite a long time and through some really bad weather, so good job. My grandson and I had actually glued those rocks on the last time, so I wanted to leave them in place, but I added this tissue around so I could actually spray this whole entire stem. So let me just show you what my inspiration is, and then we'll finish this up. This was the second time that these plants and these pots had been repurposed, and that's why they got a little bit rusty. I thought, you know what, these things had lived their best life, but nope, they're about to get a third lease on life. I asked ChatGPT to show me what they would look like as a magnolia plant, and I like the way the magnolia looks, so I decided let's give it a try. I went ahead and sprayed the stems with 2 different browns. I used a walnut brown and a normal chocolate brown because I wanted to give it that variation, which would make it look more realistic. This part is not easy to do because you have to hold this thing to where it's literally spilling out. You have to make it so it's coming out just a little bit like that and spitting out like that. That's too much, but I just want to spit a little bit on the bark.
That's what she said.
So it looks more realistic. And then I add a little bit more brown over it so it looks a little bit more aged, but you can see that it looks more like a realistic branch. So they look really good. When the supervisor and I did these originally, we glued them in, so these rocks are not moving. So I'm going to go in here with a little paintbrush to get those areas right there. Okay, now that the branches are done, I'm going to go ahead and put in these magnolias that I got from Hobby Lobby. I bought 2 bushels of these. I figured that would be enough. And then I got some of the loose ones, which are a lot smaller, so that it can look a little bit more realistic while it ascends. Now, all of these holes are quite different. These holes are smaller in these plants than they are on the actual branch. So I had to do a little bit of MacGyvering to make them fit, and I did different things on different ones. But like, see how this is really small compared to some of these other things are pretty big. So I think I'm just gonna slice them open with a razor and hot glue and slide them on into place. Like, I was able to get this one magnolia leaf on, which I like because, you know, they look realistic. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so for this part, I want to put a longer stem, like this longer piece. So I got my drill, and I'm gonna drill a hole right through here, so that way I can stick it inside, because this is a pretty good sized base. So I'm gonna do that on there. A little glue in there, make sure it sticks, but that way I can get some that's reaching out. But it's looking good so far. You can see how that's turning into a magnolia plant, and then it's gonna go in those pots that we painted. But yeah, love it. Wow, it's not done yet, but that's gonna look really nice. That's gonna look really pretty once it's done. Okay, so it was $9.99 for the bushel and 40% off, and then $2.29 for each of the smaller ones, and I used 3 per tree. But these, I think, were regular price. Okay, so remember this waterproofing agent that I showed you guys when I was doing the countertop in my guest bath? Well, I'm going to be using this on here because these are going to be outdoors. I don't need to do the whole thing, but I want to put some decorative stuff on here. So yeah, and then this stuff is really good because I had literally glued it shut without realizing it. So just make sure you wipe off the lid when you're putting it away, but definitely works. And I will link this one or something similar to it. But yeah, it really works. And it's been doing really good in the guest bathroom as well. There goes that rain again. And then these are the stone granules that I had got. I think I got these from Lowe's. They were like $2.99 because they were on clearance. Okay, so here's the plan. I want to put those granules around the edge. So I'm just going to paint some of this on here, like that, because I know that this is going to hold up with the water outside. And once I get that all painted on, I don't think I need to go any further than that. I just want like a nice little lip going around. And this is gonna take a while to dry, because it does, but that's fine because it's a little bit more workable. So yeah, there's the plan. Get some on the edge. some of that stuff will stick. And then this is why I needed the plate. I'm just gonna pour that on there. Like that. And then just give it a nice edge. Okay, so now I have to decide which trim I want. Do I want that one? Do I want that one? Or do I want that one? Not sure. So I ended up putting this rope on after these granules dried, and then I decided to add some glass, the crushed glass around there as well, because this is the color that's out there, so I kind of wanted to bring that in a little bit. And it's not dry yet. I'm just using regular Elmer's glue for that, and then it'll dry eventually clear. But I like it. They look nice. Are almost done. Well, they're dry now, but I have to fill them so I can put the magnolia plants in. But I think they came out pretty nice. What do you guys think? Do you like them? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put some foam in the bottom in here because, you know, it needs to be filled in, and plus I want it to sit up a little bit higher. So I'm gonna do that. And this is the way you hold a foam can, upside down. Just FYI. Okay, so here's this one. This is the old bar, which I'm gonna be reusing. I am gonna be changing out these curtains though, because you can see they're all frayed. Some of them are torn. Anyway, so this is the new rod that I'm gonna put at the bottom, because I know the rod works. This is a telescoping rod, so you add all the pieces together, you just screw them together, and then you're gonna twist this until it actually fits. Now, because I don't have much for it to bite on over here, I think I'm gonna add just a little block of wood right back there so it has something to press up against, and it's literally just compression. I don't have to put any screws. I might add some screws to this one like I did with this side, because the wind is so strong here, it was literally pulling it away. So I did add screws to that one, which I can patch up. I'm not concerned about that. But yeah, so that's where we are. So apparently I changed the color as well, which I didn't even realize. I ordered a different color. This is a little creamier, but I guess it's okay. It'll work, because once you open it up, it's not that big of a difference. So yeah, so what I have to do is check the measurement from the top up there, and I have to push it all the way up to down here with a little bit of slack. So that way the wind will be able to blow it without necessarily pulling it all the way out. Okay, so this is where I need to hem it at the bottom for it to fit on that rod right there. And I know some people are probably like, why didn't you just do a screen, a bud screen? I could, but this just feels a lot more beautiful and romantic and beach-like. And I like the way the curtains blow in the wind. It's just really nice, as opposed to a utilitarian screen. Now I know at the bottom there's going to be that rod. On this side it doesn't matter, nobody goes out this way, but on this side which leads out to the gazebo beyond those curtains. I will have to do something on the floor to keep this from becoming a tripping hazard, because it will go across the floor. It's going to go on the bottom all the way across, just like it does right there on the top, because this is the best solution for me. Trust me, I've been through about 3 or 4 different solutions for holding it down at the bottom. The track didn't last from the rain. It just sort of washed away. Then I ended up having to do like bricks with zip ties and some sticks, and yeah, so I've done a couple different renditions. However, I do like the curtains, so I'm determined to make them work. Okay, I got all the curtains hemmed. That was 10 panels that I had to hem. And let me tell you, sewing them wasn't the problem. It was actually getting the measurements right, and kept having issues with the bobbin and the thread and the bobbin and the needle. So anyway, needless to say, this took way longer than it should have, but I'm gonna go ahead and put them up now. So you can see here, the other pole is at the bottom, and the ruffle is nice. It's at the top. It sort of blocks things a little bit, and it doesn't keep the bugs out all the way, but it does keep them down. So I like it because I like the way the curtains flow in the wind when it's not like crazy windy, you know. It looks nice. Okay, dolls, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you got some inspiration for your outdoor space as well. If you did, go ahead and give this video a like, leave your comments below, and if you can, go ahead and hype it up. And also, just so you know, if you're new here, everything in this space has a story. You just have to check out the original video that I had shown you earlier, but this one right here. However, I wanted you guys to see how it looks when it's closed. I know that bottom track might be a little bit tricky, but I'm the only one who has to deal with it on a daily basis, so I'm not too worried, and I love the way that it looks when it's closed. And with that said, have a great week. I love you. Bye.